Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Weeb Seen It podcast, episode number 15.
Yep.
Today we have a much shorter list than normal, being as a lot of the fall anime ended last week, and they haven't all started yet, the winter anime. So I believe this week we only have, Noblesse, King's Raid, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Attack on Titan.
Yeah, technically we've got 2 episodes of King's Raid to go over, but...
Technically, yes. So yeah, if you're interested in any of those, we will have timestamps down below as always. If you hover over the buffering bar, they're always there too. And I guess let's just get right into it.
Yep.
And we're back, guys. And of course, like every episode before we start, we are going to get into our little tradition of our non-sponsored energy drinks. A little cheers. Try not to do too much ASMR drinking. Perfect. So before we get started on the episodes, I mean, we can obviously mention it was Christmas last week.
Yep.
So that made... If it would have been a full week for us, like the regular 7 or 8 episode anime talking about week, it would have actually been tough.
Yeah, it would have been a bit of a nightmare.
Because, there's a lot of, even with all this stuff going on in the world right now, I still had a lot of Christmas plans. So yeah, luckily, I think I just watched Attack on Titan tonight. The other ones I actually had to watch on my phone. And I don't watch anime on my phone.
Yeah, that's
But I was left with no other option.
Jeez, you couldn't even smartcast it? Or?
No, I couldn't even smartcast it. Where I was staying had no smartcastable TV.
Oh, wow.
So it was just me laying in bed with bad internet, watching them on my phone. The only one I didn't want to do that with was Attack on Titan, which didn't come out till, I think, do you know what time it came out yesterday?
I think it was around 4 o'clock.
Okay, again, so that's a slightly more consistent schedule now.
Yeah. I didn't check until 4:10. I'm not going to lie,
So it was probably still close, though, because up until then, they've had a little bit of inconsistencies with their release schedule.
I mean, it kind of happens because they're doing early season release because they've got that extended season, so...
Yeah, plus it comes out on both Crunchyroll and Funimation. I don't know if it launches at the exact same time in either one. I haven't done, the test yet.
I mean, I feel like one would be bragging if they got it first.
Maybe Funimation, but they also recently bought Crunchyroll, so maybe they can do that.
That is true, yeah.
It's possible. But yeah, so as we mentioned earlier, this is a very short episode compared to normal. It's only 4 episodes to talk about. And even as far as the episodes go, especially with something like Attack on Titan, this is probably, in my opinion, the slowest Attack on Titan episode yet.
Yeah, there's a revelation at the end, but nothing...
Yeah, it's you have that feeling while watching it that there's going to be this big build-up to something, but that something is really... It was an after-credit scene and then followed by, next episode's going to be...
Oh, God, yeah.
Extremely intense. Which I guess they do that little low in this episode. Because even the last episode, even though it was all flashback, that flashback is so important. It has so much...
Yeah.
Has so much weight, lore-wise in the show, that it never felt like it was a dull point.
Yeah,
but this one's a lot more kind of this would be the filler of other anime, the kids hanging out at the festival, stuff like that.
I mean, it is, but at the same time, it's them kind of showing this is how idyllic this place can be. Now we're going to wreck it.
Yeah, exactly. They need to give that low point so the next episode when all the action finally starts, which it's probably going to, or at least very shortly.
Yeah, we've got maybe 2 episodes before shit gets real.
Yeah, it's going to be intense. But we'll get to that later because Attack on Titan isn't until last up on our list.
Yeah.
So I guess without further ado, we'll start with the very first thing on our list, which is, of course, Noblesse. Noblesse, episode number 12.
That all may be as it should be / execution.
I told you, everything this season has the slash.
I know.
I think Noblesse does it with literally every single episode.
I mean, it's the only one on the list this week, so...
Well, that's pretty good then. That's better than normal.
We just had to cut half the list to have that happen.
So I believe this is the second last episode of Noblesse now.
Yep.
They started 1 week after all the other shows, plus a lot of the shows we talked about this season were 12-episode anime seasons. This is a 13.
Yeah.
As with the tradition
it's
of
pretty
the
standard for
original.
Crunchyroll, so...
Yeah, so we have 1 more week left of this, so the finale will be next week, and then that'll be off on our list. I'm sure we're going to get a second season, Noblesse.
Yeah, they're probably going to do Tower of God and God of High School first, but we're probably going to get another season.
Yeah, they'll probably keep it at the same turn order.
Yeah, because I don't think they have another. They don't have another original property listed, do they?
Not that I know of. I'm sure they will. I'm sure there's so many. I've seen so many lists of the webtoons and stuff like that, the mangas that people want Crunchyroll to make an anime of, and some of them are really, really popular. But I haven't heard anything confirmed yet. So
yeah, they might be focusing on the properties they've already got going, and I think they've been sponsoring other anime as well, but not putting it under their banner because I think Tony Kawa actually had Crunchyroll.
Yeah, it did have the Crunchyroll original thing on it. So
yeah, so they at least they're sponsoring other series, so we might get other manhwas. But
yeah, it's possible. I would be excited because I think some of the manhwa stuff, it's that's untapped potential. It's taken us this long. Anime finally just became a lot more mainstream. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, so now we need the niche stuff that the people who are into anime aren't into.
Exactly. But yeah, episode in general, we're still inside Lucadonia. It's the final arc of the show. This episode, would you say it was better or worse than the last episode?
I don't know, because this show doesn't do action well.
No, it doesn't. The action is just the action's not the important part, and I'm not always sure if that's what they want you to think or if that's just what you're going to think no matter what.
Yeah, because I mean, a big part of this was the fight between the the R3 Knights or the R4 Knights.
Yeah, really, them losing very fast to Ryle or whatever his name is.
Yeah, even when they pop the non-side effect D.
Well, yeah, because he has the soul weapon, right, which is extremely strong. So a lot of this, and okay, I'm gonna have to say right now, I was wrong. Jimmy was right.
Yeah.
Did you? As soon as that came up, were you like, "Yep, I knew it." The one guy is in fact not the same guy as the flashback. He's not Rajek, whatever Kajal, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He is a son of him. So we don't know what happened to him.
I'm assuming he went to sleep.
These people got us. I think that. Do you think? Because you know how they kind of implied that most of the clan leaders are like newer clan leaders.
Yeah, because I think everyone except for Gejutel is a newer leader.
So do you think that when the original Lord went to sleep, it was like all of them as like honorary thing kind of like followed him? And that's what led to this like new order kind of thing.
I mean, you saw what the new Lord's like. They might have gone to sleep just to get away from her.
I originally thought that there was no chance they're going to actually make her a bad guy. It's going to be a misunderstanding, and then they're going to kind of fix it later, which is still definitely possible.
I mean, it's possible, but she's wearing daddy issues like
sucks.
A fucking badge. Like,
she sucks. I was like, okay, like she might end up being cool. She's just one of those characters who's like really stern or strict, follows the rules, even if it's not always the right thing.
Yeah.
But no, she's just kind of a bitch. Like,
yeah, like, especially considering her whole motivation for this and her whole motivation for how she's structured the society at this point is because she's mad that her dad offered her job to somebody else.
Yeah, even though like in this, Gejutel straight up like tells everyone about why this whole thing has started, and they're all like, wait, like seriously, what?
Which I mean, I don't know if that's a flex or not. Just saying like, hey guys, your boss has daddy issues. Like,
yeah, being like, hey, the only reason she hates him so much is because he was offered it by the last Lord, and then even then saying, and then he denied it, kind of thing. Also like to piss her off extra, like. It's something she trained her whole life for, and it was offered, it was like betrayal by her dad to give it to him. Yeah. And then it's such a shitty thing, even he doesn't want it, He's like, nah, fuck that.
It's too easy.
She gets the consolation prize. Like, I'll let her have it. So nice double sting for her. But yeah, she definitely got some daddy issues. We still don't know what the traitorous act is. I don't think it was just him being offered it and turning it down was like a traitorous act. I think
it's going to be that he turned it down and that her dad went to sleep as a result of it because he was upset.
That's possible, but I feel like there's got to be something else. I feel like there's going to be one extra thing that's going to be revealed in the finale.
I mean, I honestly wouldn't be shocked if it comes to light that she forced her dad to go to sleep after she got pissed off about this.
That's true. That's how that would really make her the bad guy, though. There would be no redeeming her as like a fun character for next season.
Does she look like a good person to you?
No, but
she's literally about to execute somebody because he didn't agree with her.
This show very much has the potential. I like to call it like Bleach syndrome, which is where every single character in Bleach, whether or not they're a good guy or a bad guy, will eventually become a character on like the good side.
Okay.
It happens to every single one, no matter how they meet. Every single person that Ichigo fights, eventually he's on like a team with.
Yeah, they're always nowhere near as strong as they were when he fought him.
Yeah, so I think that this show has the potential, that she'll at the end she'll learn her lesson. She'll have like a crush on Rai, and that'll be like her character thing. She'll come to like, even though she's like the Lord, she'll come to visit him at school and they'll be like, oh Lord, you shouldn't be doing this. Like, this is not professional. I'm kind of getting like she might become the captain of the Fifth from Fire Force.
Oh God. Remember when she was a good character?
Well, I see that as a possibility though, that's what this girl could become. Because think about her prior to the whole losing to Shinra thing. She's very much the total bitch character who sucks in like every single way. And then all of a sudden she gets beat by Shinra, and then she becomes like this like, actually, it's very much. This is just going to keep comparing down the rabbit hole. She's very much becomes a Boa Hancock from One Piece. Yeah. I know you haven't seen that far, but I'm sure you understand.
I know about Boa Hancock.
Also a character who's kind of a bitch. She hates men, but then Luffy though, and then she
Luffy flexes on her. Then she's in love with him.
She's obsessed with him. So I'm. This is my early predictions. I'm guessing that's how it's going to end. But if it is revealed that she did in fact like forcibly put her father to sleep after finding that out so she could become Lord like right away, like she couldn't handle it anymore, then I feel like maybe that's like irredeemable and she can't really come back from that. Yeah,
and I actually have another question, because she was wielding the sword Ragnarok, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't they find the sword Ragnarok
in his house?
Yeah. So
now she did summon it out of like nowhere, so it's possible it's like a it was there, but then she summons it and brings it over.
But the thing is, I don't think they would show it in his house if it wasn't important. And secondly, I thought this was that's a soul weapon.
It is.
So that you just kind of call it out of the ether. Mm-hmm. Or is there like a dark spear floating around the cloud somewhere?
Unless maybe that one's different. It's, are you thinking that it's possible it's like a fake kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it might be a fake she used to kill her dad or something like that.
Yeah, it's possible. I was kind of upset about the lack of like the what do they call the R3 or the R4?
Yeah, because they showed up and they just didn't do much. Like they managed to slow the dude down a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's still pretty implied that M21 is like the strongest out of them.
Yeah, and he didn't do shit.
But even none of them. It's like
we didn't see him pop the pill, but
I guess I guess we didn't really want them to. I just feel like they don't need anything yet in this season. They could wait till like if they would have come back now, been way stronger after like a day from when they were just learned that they could become stronger.
Yeah.
Really, right now, all he did is he made a version of the pill they took before, the D, that is less detrimental to them, which is fine. They weren't that strong when they took that either, as we've seen. They got easily overpowered when they took those against nobles and stuff anyways. So as long as like next season they have some good character growth and become a little stronger.
I mean, there is hope. I mean, I was kind of expecting M21 just to go werewolf mode on him, but
yeah, I'm still hoping that they bring back the human characters.
I mean, I think once this season is done and they're establishing the next season, they're going to go back to school and we're going to have the human characters again. They're not going to have any idea what happened this season.
Yeah,
I just there's the hangout part of the series.
You've already brought them in, especially like the red-haired character. Like they've given him all the classic shonen traits.
Yeah.
So it seems like such a waste to then like make him lose his memory and get rid of him. The other guy's got the guy in the chair, the smarts. I know they have Tao already, but
he's
they like
going to
each
be
other.
Tao's apprentice.
Yeah, exactly. And we've already seen now that if you make like basically if the noble makes like the deal with the human, they get like the long life kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
That's an opportunity right there for them. So we're just going to have to see if they actually play out on that or if they're just like those characters were just like red herrings. They're useless now. They do nothing.
They were to bait you in. They were supposed to be the protagonists. Nobody liked them, so we got new ones.
Yeah, like what's more shonen than like the too sure of himself main character who is really strong, but he'll do anything for his friends.
Yeah.
And then like his like friend sidekick who's much weaker but smart. Like
I mean that's on the nose, and maybe that was the idea. Maybe it was meant to kind of throw you off.
A bait. I mean, I would be curious. I'm still not going to say Noblesse is my favorite show of the season. It's pretty far from it. I definitely think it's gotten a lot better than when it started.
I mean, yeah, but
when it started, it seemed like I was confused at its confusion about what kind of show it was.
I mean, yeah, because you never did end up going back and watching that like one-off
Nope.
OVA. Even with that, the first episodes wouldn't have made much sense.
Yeah, it was the same question I think we asked last week when we recorded this. Is like, hey, what genre would you put this into? Especially in the early episodes, it's so confusing. You're like, okay, is it like a school anime? Is it like a seinen? Is it like a?
I would almost go self-insert fanfic.
Yeah, maybe.
Like,
I mean, that's a lot of things with vampires, which makes me very upset.
I know, but that's the best way I could describe it because it doesn't have a set genre. It's just whatever the author wants it to be that week.
It could very much become shonen. One of my best examples I can think of a show that I didn't consider shonen until it became very shonen, which I'm pretty sure you watched, was Katayeko Hitman Reborn.
Yes.
That did not start off shonen.
No, it was originally a gag manga.
Yeah, it had some like little shonen elements when there was like fights and stuff like that, but it became like hardcore shonen by like the late seasons, right?
Yeah, but I mean that's quintessential Shonen Jump. If something isn't doing well, they just turn it into a battle manga and hope for the best.
Yeah, it's a lot of times I actually the what's it called? Bakuman, the manga about writing manga.
Yeah.
A lot of that you get to see the behind the scenes of like Shonen Jump authors, and literally if they look at the results and they're not doing well, a lot of times they have to genre switch. It's just how it works. So I don't know if Noblesse is gonna. It could follow the same suit. Like they've had shonen elements, so it could easily turn into like a shonen anime.
Again, the problem is they don't do fights that well.
No, but they have the potential to. Like we've seen, the only thing that God of High School did well was fights, right?
Yeah, but
like,
I think that was almost a studio difference because they were running off of Mappa then, which is the same studio that does Attack on Titan.
Yeah, and they do pretty good fight scenes.
Yeah, which I honestly have no idea which studio is doing Noblesse because I didn't bother looking into it because they're not that special. But
yeah, I feel like with Noblesse they put a lot more emphasis on making like pretty boy characters, which is classic like seinen, compared with doing really good fight scenes.
Yeah, I don't know if I call it seinen. I'd almost go shoujo.
Yeah, I could see. As I said, we discussed last week. All they're missing is the female protagonist. Like we have not met. I guess other than. What, Sarah? She's like the only female that we've actually met that we're supposed to care about. That's inside of like the main.
Yeah, and she has no
crew.
Personality, so she fits that role pretty well.
I mean, she might get personality eventually.
I mean, we've seen her fight for Gejitel, which is something.
In this episode, she like stood up to try and fight him. To then it cut away and comes back and she lost. So it's like an off-screen fight.
Yeah,
that's how much they don't want to show us the fight. Sometimes.
Which I mean, I just want to know how ugly that fucking soul weapon was that the other chick was using.
Yeah, it was like a staff, right? Like an eyeball staff.
Yeah, it looked like something at a Monster Rancher.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that fight was off screen. I really did like Gejutel like standing up to the Lord, just kind of shit talking her a little bit.
Yeah.
That was good.
He had kind of that quiet grace to him where he's like, yeah, no, you can kill me. Go ahead. Doesn't matter.
I think that kind of goes along with the theory that it's possible that when the last Lord did his eternal sleep for whatever reason that we might find out in the next episode, I think a lot of the current clan members went with him as like a sign of either like rebellion or like obedience to him. Maybe Gejutel stayed, and now maybe this is his idea to go back to the Lord. Like he was trying to stay to maybe try and convince the other Lord to like follow in the right footsteps, and but it like at this point he's like, oh no, she's too far gone. Like all this shit is just showing how bad she actually is.
Now I'm just gonna let Rai come in. He's gonna bitch slap her.
He's like, now I'm gonna go back to my actual Lord.
Because the thing is, like, being a Lord is supposed to be hereditary, is what we've had established for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if something happens to this Lord, what happens to their whole society? Because I don't think she has a kid.
No, I have no idea. That's it. Maybe they pick from the clan leaders. Maybe it'll just like, I mean, we already obviously know that Rai doesn't want to do it, and nor will it happen because that would really ruin their kind of school setting unless they just literally say fuck that for season 2.
I mean, yeah, but they could always even just have them say like, okay, our society's disbanded. We're going to school. Come on.
All of us, yeah. Lucadonia is actually just going to be a campus now. We're going to make our own school here.
I mean, would you put it past him?
No. I mean, pretty much they already own the other school.
He does own this school.
Which I'm like, so like at that point, I guess they could just make a new Lucadonia school, make it like a full campus, and boom, done. I feel like there's a possibility that we're getting like second season Ryle, like the one kid, is going to be going to the school. Like we're going to get more of these characters that we've seen now.
They're going to do something to make him have more humility, make him a halfway decent character. Regis is probably going to power up at some point, either in the next episode or next season.
Yeah, he's got to. He's kind of weak.
I mean,
he's kind of shit.
When he showed up, he was supposed to be like this big, super powerful guy. Then it's like, yeah, by the way, he's like nothing.
Yeah, he lost to pretty much everyone he's fought now. I mean, he was winning the fight against Shark early on in the season, and then he didn't really have a choice because they kidnapped humans. But he's like the what the hell was his name? The red hair guy from Bleach.
Oh my! I know who you're talking about. That's it.
Yeah, he lost like I think every single fight he ever went into in the anime, except for like some specific joke ones or something like that. But yeah, I mean, he's gonna be the Renji of the show. He's always gonna lose.
Oh,
and I blame his hair.
Yeah, it's kind of a douchebag haircut. So
yeah. I am excited for the finale. As I said, the show's definitely grown since early on. And I've mentioned this multiple times, but Tower of God, I didn't really love until the finale, and then you get the final scene before like the next season. So it's very possible Noblesse can do the same thing.
It is true. I just can't imagine a way of them pulling this all together.
No, and I'm excited because I still think there's this plot point of the actual like crime he apparently committed that he probably didn't. Because I think they would have put more emphasis on it if it was just what we thought. Like if it was just the kind of betrayal of her father to him. I don't really think she could sell all the other nobles on him actually being a traitor that. The
thing is, she is basically God to these people. She just says like, hey, he's guilty, and they all kind of go with it.
It's true that, but like from especially these ones, it could just be because they're like a younger group, but they at least like even from just the assassin or like the execution of like Gejutel, they've all shown like slight disobedience or like they've actually questioned her.
Yeah, but the difference is Gejutel was there for them. Gejutel was basically father to them.
But Rai is their god.
Maybe they don't know that.
I feel like they've got to. I don't know.
Have we heard any of them refer to him in any way other than the traitor?
I don't think really any of them have mentioned him yet. They're probably too scared because he's so godlike. I'm sure Gejutel has maybe told them. But I think the next episode in the finale, we're going to get the reveal of what this traitorous act was.
Yeah,
it's definitely possible that they could go full evil with the young Lord character, and she could have like actually killed her father and then blamed it on him, and then like,
I'm personally putting my money on that.
Yeah, because the other question is, why did Rai start the show in a coffin? That's like, that's a very important. They mentioned it multiple times that they were like looking for the man in the coffin, but never at this point have we had a reason why he would be in there from when we've last seen him.
Yeah, because I mean, if it was his punishment, then why would they not know where it is?
Yeah, like the why would they be looking for it?
Or if he went to his eternal sleep or anything like that, again, how the hell would it end up in the ocean?
Yeah, and then obviously like Frankenstein in the meantime has just been not in sleep in a coffin. He's just been doing shit, I suppose.
Yeah,
like has he been living it this entire time to then founding a school at some point?
Yeah,
and then getting ready to.
Which I do kind of want to ask the question, like, why the fuck would he go and open a school?
There's got to be a reason. That's what I'm like. Well, there doesn't have to be a reason. It could just be not flawless writing. That's the anime
I
needed
know.
to school. But I would like to
True.
think that there's reasoning, and I hope we see it next episode. I hope the next episode has the flashbacks of what the crime was that he apparently committed to become like traitors from a god stand, and then why he ended up in a coffin, because it doesn't make much sense,
Yeah.
and that's actually a pretty important part of the story.
Yeah, they haven't really dealt with that. So yeah, I would definitely like to see that.
Yeah, most of the time, and for the longest time, like his basically how people referred to him is just like, oh, the one in the coffin kind of thing,
Yeah.
Like all the characters didn't know him. Like Sarah and Regis were specifically sent to go find him, and then they did, and then they lied about it, which is what then got Gedgetel in trouble. So like there's just all this stuff with the coffin. I want that question answered.
Yeah.
And I want to know what the Traitors Act was, because I think it still hasn't been revealed.
Oh, it definitely hasn't.
I guess that's just anything we'll find out on the next episode, though. Season finale next week. Be sure to check it out. I don't 100% know if any other shows start by the next week. We got to do a real deep dive this week into making a list.
Don't know when everything's starting. So
we have an idea of what our like rough estimate on the list is, which we might talk about later, but we do not know the start dates of everything yet.
Yeah.
We're going to do research on that. But check out next week. We'll be talking about the season finale, Noblesse. Let us know our thoughts down below. If you have theories about, what his crime was, the coffin situation, all that kind of stuff, you got favorite characters, let us know. I don't think people are pretty good about the no spoilers thing for the most part.
yeah, I don't think we've seen any in the comments so far.
So just keep spoilers out if you can, and discuss it to your heart's content. Okay, next up on the list is King's Raid, both episode 13 and 14.
Yeah, for the 13, it's To My Dear Friend, and for the other episode, it's The Entrance to the Abyss.
Okay, so let's just get this right out of the way. Episode 13, I first went on and saw it. I questioned it three different times. I was like, okay, wait, did they put like a double episode for Christmas season?
I'd heard that they were doing a double episode because they're not doing one next week due to New Year's.
Okay.
They're being supplanted by a bunch of other shows.
Are they also doing that for other shows like Jujutsu and stuff?
I don't know. I think this one got hit specifically due to its time slot. So,
Okay.
But yeah, I guess we should just get it out of the way first. The first episode is a clip episode.
Now, I will admit, it does affect it more because they're not doing one next week. But if a show's going to give me a clip episode, I prefer them do it with 2 episodes, because the worst thing ever is when you're like, oh, here comes my favorite anime tonight, and you go and you click it, and then it's a recap. You're like, now I got to wait a whole another fucking week just to watch an episode I was so excited for, and you got baited into clicking on it, then finding out it's a recap. At least they put out a recap and a separate episode.
The thing is, how many shows do a recap?
Ones that normally go for some show. Actually, you know what? A lot of shows back in the day did a recap. They did like a 12.5 and then a 25 episode season. That was kind of like the standard. This one, I actually was very surprised they named it episode 13 and not like a 12.5.
Yeah, that would have made a lot more sense.
Because I don't think there was really any reveal in this that you needed to watch. I watched the beginning part until the recap started. Then I watched. There was actually like a full 2.5 minutes at the end that wasn't new or that wasn't like old, but it wasn't of any importance.
Yeah, no, it was Cleo and Frey talking.
Yeah, that was it. Just it was Castle was still unconscious and she was just discussing it, kind of thing.
And I think they established Cleo might be a lesbian. I think that's the only thing that happened.
It's possible, but it's also anime. We've discussed this many times.
I mean, that's true. That's
the
true.
Yuri in anime just gets insane. Doesn't always have a reason. So,
and the thing is, like, whenever I've watched clip episodes in the past, usually it's something like very shonen that's been running for a long time. Something like Hitman Reborn, Bleach. I think One Piece has done a couple.
Probably a lot less than you could argue they could do with 1,000 episodes.
Like normally it's at like the 80 episode mark. It's like, hey, if you haven't been watching the last 2 arcs, this is where we're at right now. Feel free to jump back in.
Yeah.
This show did not need it.
No, it definitely didn't need it. I think that they're like, hey, if we're going to take a break of a week, we might as well come out with one anyways.
Yeah, but the thing is, they should have done this after the break.
Yeah, I know, but then I wouldn't have liked that. No matter how they did it, it was unnecessary. The amount of information we've received in the last, I guess it would be 13 weeks, something like that, of watching the show has been very small amount.
Yeah, generic RPG element there. You've got 3 of the seals. There.
Yeah. Like we didn't really need to be told very much. I didn't even watch it, right? Like I
didn't
never
either.
I never watched them. I watched the first 2 minutes, and it was the plot of it is literally just what's her name? Frey.
She's writing a letter.
Is writing a letter to what's his name? Claude.
Klaus.
Klaus. She's writing a letter to Klaus. Thus the title. To my dear friend, or whatever it is, just about their adventure so far, which has a slight implication. I think it's at the end of this episode. I think that's the other part of this, where he is talking to the princess.
I think that's at the start of the next episode.
Okay, well, then this episode really wouldn't be necessary.
It isn't. It's not necessary in any way, shape, or form.
But the importance of this episode at some point is that now Klaus has been updated on what they've been doing, and then he does talk to the princess, and he's like, like it's not just us fighting. I have a friend out there named Castle who's also doing his part in fighting. He doesn't go into any details about him being the technically the true heir of the throne.
I mean, because the question is, like, technically, isn't he a deserter?
Who, Castle?
Yeah,
unless like we don't know the actual system.
He's
of
a
the
castle
military.
knight who just pissed off to do something else without telling anyone.
It's possible. We've seen that Klaus is pretty high up. It's possible he just gave him like permissive leave kind of thing.
I mean, that's probably true, but I mean, then someone's going to question. It's like, hey, why'd you let this soldier just leave to go do whatever the hell he wants?
It's like, oh, well, he's actually the true heir to the throne because he's the son of King Kyle, and they'd be like, oh, what the fuck?
Okay, you're gonna have to come with us.
I wonder if there's ever going to be. I honestly doubt it with the show's writing, but I wonder if there's ever going to be conflict based off the fact that he is technically the true heir to the throne, depending on how they do they've kind of implied based off the fact that we know there's a current king and when he dies she's going to take over the throne, that there is a hierarchy system just based off their noble family. But King Kyle was only from 100 years ago, which means their family line, how did it start? Was it like a noble when King Kyle went missing was like, well, I'm the king now, and that's been the family since? Yeah,
because I mean, King Kyle had his kid, but
had his kid, but they hid the kid, right?
Yeah. So did someone just roll up? It's like, hey, this is King Kyle's child, or like, hey, I'm his girlfriend. I'm pregnant, so yeah.
Yeah, I figured it was probably just one of the higher up nobles.
Yeah, probably.
One of the nobles is just like, who had the most standing or money was like, well, I'm king now because he's missing.
I'll take care of the throne until he happens to show back up.
Yeah, now we've seen that the king seems like he's a decent guy compared to the nobles we keep getting shown.
He seems like a good guy, but he spends all his time in bed. I wouldn't be surprised if someone's poisoning him.
Yeah, it's probably one of those dick nobles.
Yeah, they're probably doing something to make sure he stays in bed so he can't do anything. So we have a chancellor in charge in his place.
Yeah.
Who on the most recent episode they established they're going to try and get rid of.
Yeah, so after, I guess that's pretty much all we need to talk about of the last episode. And then, of course, after their recap episode, they actually go into another Dark Elf episode.
Yeah, which I kind of jumped ahead on that one, but yeah.
Yeah, that's okay, though. So this episode was still probably one of the better ones of King's Raid. Pretty much every time we talk about a Dark Elf episode.
Yeah, I mean, the Dark Elf episodes are up here, then all the Castle episodes are like down here.
Yeah. I really, like, it's not that I hate like Castle specifically. I mean, other than the fact he's just
so
the most
generic.
Yeah, it literally okay. And I don't like saying this because I really like Tales games, but it feels like it could just be a Tales game because like the Tales games are also really generic.
Here's the difference: Tales games are about the party members, right?
Yeah, they're about the characters.
Yeah, you find the characters you like, you build a party with them, and then
you get betrayed by one of them in every game.
Yeah, then they always come back and they help you, and then you recruit the bad guy at some point.
Yeah, they have it's very procedural, but the characters, like the cat, like when you ask a Tales fan what their favorite character is, they could be different every single person you ask.
Yeah, no one has the same favorites. Like,
yeah, when you ask a person who their favorite King's Raid character is, they're like, none of them. I hate everyone.
Yeah, they're gonna name a Dark Elf.
Yeah, they'll name like Tam. Like he's dope.
He's a Dark Elf, and he's the only one whose name I know. So yeah, Tam, cool.
Yeah, he is the only one. Yeah, I think he actually is the only actual name I know. Rahit or whatever is the main guy.
Rahit is the main guy. I knew the sister's name for a while, but it's just fogged out in my brain right now.
Yeah. But yeah, like every other Dark Elf episode, this one was a little bit better. A lot of it, again, was the relations with the princess. They're about to go on like a scouting mission to the area where the Dark Lord appeared 100 years ago.
Correct. To the, what is it, the castle of the old Grey Republic.
Yeah, something along that line.
I mean, what kind of goddamn name is Grey Republic? That just sounds so miserable.
I mean, it looked like a pretty miserable area when we got there at the end. It was just like a barren wasteland. That is true, but I don't think it was always like that. Yeah, the one other important part, too, is that we do see the, what's his name, Malduk?
Malduk, yeah.
He's talking to, did they give her a name? I think it was like Maria or something.
It was, yeah, I can't remember.
They gave her a name, though, like the witch lady. And again, it implies, because she lies. Yeah. He mentions that he fought someone who had like the power of the holy sword, and she's like, oh, no, that's impossible. But we already know that she's both met Castle and felt the power of the holy sword. And even given him, like, she had like a sentence at the end, you know, being like, oh, and are you going to be cursed by it too, kind of thing, by like the goddess.
We don't know what her deal is because she seems to be working both sides.
Yeah, because of the fact that she didn't just openly say like, oh yeah, that's the possible, like, you know, she even recognized him originally from King Kyle, meaning that she's also met King Kyle. Now, whether that was fighting or possible party member.
Yeah, because something. Did you watch the new opening?
I did. Yeah.
Did you see all the broken party member weapons?
No.
Okay, well, they show a bunch of broken gear that does not belong to the party that we're dealing with. So I think we're going to get to see some of King Kyle in this.
That would make sense. I think like a flashback. And the thing is, he had to have a party. And just like, since the game is very video gamey, they have all like the classes kind of thing. So I have a feeling she's going to be like the sorcerer or the witch or whatever.
She's going to be either the Cleo or the Frey equivalent. Mm-hmm. Now, my big question about the wisdom of this is, do we really want Castle to be the third best story arc in his own anime?
That will happen if they come up with a King Kyle one. It's just a fact. They don't even have an orc in their party in Castle's party.
I mean, yeah, they didn't even pick up the elf that basically offered to come with them.
They should have picked up the elf. They should have picked up the shaman or the young shaman apprentice.
Yeah, that would have made sense.
Like they had to.
Which I don't think they show the elf in the opening either. So I don't think we're going to actually get her.
No, I think that she's going to come in for the final fight.
Yeah.
I think that
she's going to lead the elven armies when everything.
Yeah, originally in our original prediction, it was that he's building party members. It's instead right now he's building alliances that'll show up for the final fight, as then the orcs kind of outlined for us. So when they get to the final fight against the demon lord, the elves are going to show up, the orcs are going to show up because Castle's built these relationships with them. Maybe some of the civilians we've seen them help are going to show up with like little militia armies.
I know, but like, come on, they couldn't fight off like a handful of undead.
Yeah, I just feel like they're going to try and bring those people back in.
I know, they're going to be like cannon fodder.
Yeah, like the old lady who, hated fire and that kind of stuff. The guy who had to go back to his daughter. I really hope he doesn't bring his daughter with him to the battle, but he's kind of a dick father, so who can
that's
say?
That's kind of the writing we're working with here.
Yeah. I like the Dark Elf episodes because you get a lot more like emotion. Not to mention the end of the Dark Elf episode. Obviously, not a fan of it. But even just like the scene where they're leaving the castle, you get to see the nobles talk about how they want to make Rihit a lord.
Yeah.
Just because he's like, oh, we make him a lord, that kind of gives them better standing. We can use them better. That's his positioning to the other nobles. Yeah,
it's basically like we're going to keep them as lapdogs and they're going to keep us safe. That was his word.
And then you get a little bit of Rihit's plan where he's like, no, like he's basically, it's a good thing they're making him a noble and they want to do this mission so they become heroes so they have more pull. Yeah. They have more sway when it comes down to it.
Yeah, the idea being that when they do take over the country, no one's going to go, it's like, I mean, they are war heroes. They did say this.
Yeah, it's even if it stops 50% of the people from trying to fight you back, that's 50% less of an army you have to fight. Yeah. That's a big deal. Possibly 25% of those 50 help you out. There's it does help a lot, which is very smart and makes sense.
Yeah, it's a good play, which is not something I expect from this show.
Yeah, but you get to see like the little kids they're playing
Black Edge.
Yeah, they're playing the Black Edge. That shows how much they like them. There's the nice scene when they're leaving town and the bakery girl comes up again and like he yells for Tam and he just doesn't like he looks but then he like turns back away.
Which I mean that's a death flag and a half.
and then she's like, oh, we'll come back safe kind of thing.
And that's the nail in the coffin.
He ain't coming back safe.
We don't know that technically.
Yeah, we don't. I think he's about to be turned into like an undead or something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because he looks kind of green. Do you notice that?
Yeah, he was definitely green. He's definitely going to try and kill someone.
Yeah. The other thing too is that we learned is their name Princess Scarlet?
Yes.
So yeah, she obviously is trying to build better relations with the Dark Elves, and she immediately goes when she talks to them. They don't respect her. They're like laughing a bunch. They're like basically making fun of her princess, being like, "God, don't even come to this mission. Stay home." And then she's like, "Oh, do you want to help me spar?" And then she goes, and it's like the classic tactic. She goes in, she kind of kicks one dude's ass, and then they all have to respect her.
Yeah, she beats the crap out of, I don't know his name.
Cocky guy. Yeah. Cocky Dark Elf.
The arrogant asshole who just seems to be there to have reactions.
Hey, listen, he really likes Tam.
I mean, yeah. Apparently he's responsible for him.
Yeah. I'm assuming he's probably just like the one who found him.
Probably,
I don't remember if we saw that in the flashback.
I guess we should probably address the Tam in the room.
Yeah, Tam dies.
Yeah, he sees a mark on the ground. He's like, ooh, what's this? Dies.
Yeah, when they're inside the Grey Republic place, it's just this barren wasteland. While walking there, Rihit says, everyone be careful kind of thing. They're all surprised that there's no demons or nothing here. Tam sees like this little black symbol in the ground. He goes to touch it, gets like zapped, yells, falls to the ground. And then they all want to go approach him. And Rihit's like, no, everyone go carefully kind of thing. Yeah,
which he was like 20 feet away from them. Like he split off pretty far before anyone realized.
Yeah, before anyone noticed. Yeah.
So
they must have rolled low on perception.
I guess, yeah. Or maybe just rolled high on stealth.
Then Rihit goes over, he checks his pulse, and he declares that he's dead. And then the cocky guy, starts crying a little bit. He's like, no, I'm responsible for him. And he starts getting angry at himself. He blames himself. He's like, oh, this is no one's fault. And then you got Malduk appears. Yeah. And that's the end of the episode, looking all cocky. Was there an after credit scene that I didn't watch?
Was there an after credit scene? That's
because they do a lot in the show. Now, every time they do an after the credit scene, that's just the first thing they show in the next episode. So it never really
Usually,
matters. You just get like a little bit of a head start, I guess.
Yeah, usually it's done in a different framing, so it looks a little different. But I feel like there was. I just don't remember what it was.
Well, that's okay. We'll see it in the next episode.
It might have been another Cleo one, which means I absolutely don't care.
We definitely wouldn't have cared. So the question here is, the end of this is very Dark Elf focused with like a cliffhanger. Are we getting a second Dark Elf episode? Are we getting a mix between two of them, like back and forth perspectives? Or are they just saying, fuck it, and we're going back to Castle?
I kind of want to see more Dark Elf, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to Castle and just absolutely tone-deaf ignorance of what they're doing. But
It just seems so weird because this episode cliffhanger, we're not going to get an episode next week, and then they're going to go back to an episode with the Dark Elves. So it's going to be like 3 full castleless weeks. Is that our Christmas gift?
I think it is. For me, it's not even Castleless; it's just Cleoless.
Yeah, it's like Castle. There's nothing wrong with Castle. As I said, their whole party is just kind of boring, kind of generic.
I mean, they're the archetypes of their characters.
Yeah, which I guess is kind of the point. But like the Dark Elves aren't really. I mean, they're all kind of like there's not like one. I wouldn't just say what class they are, you know, because you can be like, oh, Roy, thief, castle, warrior, Frey, cleric, Cleo, wizard. But like the Dark Elves are all just the Dark Elves. Like their characters aren't based on what like class they are game wise. They're just them.
Yeah, they're just standard characters. Which the one thing I do want to note, when they're talking about Roy and Cleo, someone was referring to them both as sorcerers. Like Castle was joined by a cleric and a pair of sorcerers.
Yeah, I guess that's probably just because they're both from the Sage Tower.
Yeah, but I'm kind of curious if we're going to see Roy start slinging thunderbolts or something.
I feel like we would have seen it by now. They've been in multiple situations where they're almost at like a loss, but then one of the, depending on whose backstory episode it is, they have to step up.
Yeah, we're not going to see it until Roy's episode. He's going to have some trauma that stops him using it.
And then he's just going to use fireball explosion.
Probably, yeah.
What if he's the secret Mega Man of the show?
Oh, God.
He's like, I don't use magic anymore because it just makes me want to explode things. Good twist.
I mean, I feel like that's a little bit above the normal writing we get for backstories on this, so I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's too big of a cliffhanger for them not to go back to it, the Dark Elf stuff.
I mean, it would make sense to do another Dark Elf episode.
Yeah, it's just going to be weird being that, once again, that's going to be so long without like the main plot
the alternative
continuing. It took us like 4 episodes to get to the orcs, and now we're going to go 3 more weeks after they get there before Castle wakes up and is ready to continue.
That is true.
And we don't even know where the 3rd seal is.
I think it's the freaking mage dude in the Sage Tower.
You think that he would, unless there's a specific order they have to do.
I think that was it.
Also, is there a chance that he's evil?
Probably.
Is there a shot? I don't, because
he's probably working with Malduk, and
he's too cocky. You know, he's too nice. I don't
he hasn't
trust.
actually done anything.
Yeah, I don't trust people that nice though. Seems sus.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I guess maybe once again, I'm trying to think of a perspective of like good writing. So maybe I'm just, maybe they're just like, hey, he's a generic nice character, and that's all he's ever going to be.
I mean, that is distinctly possible. He might just be there to enable the plot and serve as like the guide who tells you where to go.
Because we've only ever seen one other character who has lived since the time of the original battle.
Yeah,
which is Malduk, which is the evil sorcerer, and
the witch chick.
Possibly. Well, we know that she's seen King Kyle before. We still haven't seen like the situation, but also some sort of dark sorcerer. And then the only other character who hasn't aged a day is, what the hell was his name again? Had like a weird X in it. Dominix?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Dominique's, something like that.
Yeah, it's something that wouldn't sound out of place in a sex show.
Yeah, I think that he, he's the only other character who has somehow remained ageless with his magic since then. Little dark sorcery to me, but
I mean, probably, yeah.
Maybe that'll be a reveal. I do think we're gonna get like maybe a two episode, maybe possibly 3 episode arc about the King Kyle past with the actual fighting of the Dark Lord, but that's not gonna be revealed till we have to know more about it, closer to when Cass is going to fight the Dark Lord.
Yeah, I think once they break the final seal, we're going to see King Kyle actually going to war and the final fight. We're probably going to see his party members die. Then we're going to see him get spirited away into the sword, and that's going to be.
Well, we know some of them didn't die. The elf lady didn't die.
Was she a party member?
I think so.
I think they were just leading the armies.
It's possible. Yeah, same with like the orc chief Sieg, whatever his name was. I think that they were part of his party, but and then Dominique obviously didn't die, and I think he was also part of the party.
Again, I don't know if he actually was.
His half sister wasn't there. She would have been part of the party if she was there.
Probably, yeah, but she died for plot convenience.
I'm sorry, no character dies on the way. That's
know.
not possible. She's coming back.
And again, during the opening, they showed 2 different swords.
Listen,
Like the final scene of the opening is 4 swords stuck in the ground.
I still think there's
So they're
going to
get that sword.
I still think there's a chance that she is the Dark Elf sister disguised as non-Dark Elf.
Wait, what?
Think about this. She is secretly his Dark Elf half-sister who made the other sword. You know, that's the dark magic right there. She dies on the way, doesn't die on the way. That's why she, like, doesn't tell about Castle. That's why she had, like, this, like, connection with Castle, and she kind of recognized him. And, you know, even after she was, like, kind of felt bad for him, like, called, like, the Curse of the Holy Sword, she was making her own sword because she didn't like the Holy Sword. There's a plot there. There's strings. I have my board in the other room. It's got the yarn going from one to the other.
It's a goddamn mess.
The thing is, especially when it comes to race, though, if the anime just showed her being a dark elf, that would become way too obvious. So there's got to use. She has to be using some sort of disguisery magic to hide that.
You're thinking the ultimate mage Malduk doesn't notice this.
Yeah, I'm sorry. She lied to him in the last episode. He's like, sure, that sounds believable.
Yeah,
to
but
me.
there's a difference between the words that come out of your mouth and illusion magic.
I think that Malduk's kind of a dumbass.
I mean, he is because he's in this show.
They've also they haven't shown anything about him. He's one of those characters who's too cocky that he doesn't doubt himself. He wouldn't second guess. He's like, no, I'm so powerful, nobody could even lie to me without me knowing.
I mean, that is distinctly possible. But in the last episode, we saw him he basically had to run away from Castle.
It's true.
And in this episode, we saw him just roll up to the Dark Elves.
Still cocky as shit. He doesn't learn his lesson.
Yeah, true.
He's probably being absolutely tricked. She's someone who is powerful enough to make a holy sword. How do you do that? How do you make a holy sword?
I mean, we don't even know she succeeded.
Oh,
we know she made a sword.
She succeeded. We get in a dark sword.
Probably. We're getting 4 swords.
Okay, well, we all know if there is a dark sword, who's wielding that one? That has to be Rahid, right? It's got to be him.
Probably, yeah.
I think in this opening, you do get a scene of him and Castle fighting together.
You definitely do, yeah.
It's weird that we can somehow manage to talk about this show for so long, considering all we do is shit on it.
I mean, it's easy to shit on something. That's the problem.
It's still one of those shows, kind of like an isekai, where it's just like, yeah, I can turn my brain off and watch this. I don't need to be doing any deep thinking.
If you're one of those people that you like RPGs, even a bad RPG can entertain you.
Yeah, I mean, I like bad RPGs. This is one of my arguments for Sword Art Online all the time. It's like, I understand it wasn't perfectly well written, but I love the thought of me being in an MMO so much. Yeah. And that was like one of the first ones. I mean, obviously you had like Hack Slime back in the day, which I also loved. Yeah. But in like our modern time, that was one of the first animes who was like, hey, virtual reality MMO. And I was like, I want that so bad that I'll like this anime no matter what happens.
Yeah, which I mean, even some of the stuff that people complain about, like Mike and Devin are 2 of our friends.
Yeah, they hate it.
They hate the part that ruined it for them apparently was the phrase beater.
Yeah, that they hated beater, and they also hated the use of Asuna being like a. They hated their relationship. They said that they couldn't get into the relationship because they took so many time skips. I liked the idea of the time skips in the show
because they were in there for so long.
Because they're in there for so long, and they only had like 13 episodes or like that to finish that part.
Yeah, but the part I always found hilarious was when they're like, "Oh, the phrase beater is so stupid." It's like, have you ever been on an online forum?
It's stupid, and it's also something that could have just got slightly less cool in translation.
Yeah,
to Japanese people, that could have sounded like the coolest shit of all time.
That is true.
But to us, it just sounds stupid. But I mean, that's because, to be fair, a lot of times in Japanese anime, they use these like cool English words that were like, when we watch, we're like, oh, that's lame as shit.
Yeah.
Like it's just how it is.
Yeah.
But they could probably use the lamest. We could be using the lamest Japanese words, like baka and shit like that. And we think it's so fucking cool.
Like, what was the song from the 90s? Domo Arigato?
Mr. Roboto.
Yeah, exactly. Some people in Japan were probably like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Even there was a long time where there was a lot, Konnichiwa was like a huge thing. People loved saying it. I remember that. And yeah, it's just probably the same thing. It probably wasn't very cool to us because we're like, beater, that's stupid as shit. But in Japan, that could have been pretty cool. And
I'm still saying beater is the type of phrase I can see cropping up on an
I still use it to this day sometimes, I'm doing really good at a game. I'm a beater.
God damn it.
But yeah, this show still has potential where if you love RPGs, maybe if you're a big fan of the cell phone game too. I've still never played it because I'm not a cell phone game player.
If you like cell phone RPGs, like King's Raid as the original game, or something like the Zenonia series or something like that, this is probably right up your alley.
Yeah, it's generic, but maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want generic. Maybe you're like, I don't want to stress my brain so much by trying to think of these complicated plots in other shows.
Let's take these standard archetypes and see what we can do with them.
As I said, too, with a 26-episode show, it's possible that they could have some other highs. I don't think they're going to have such good highs that the show is going to be top list for anybody. No. But they could have some episodes so good where you're like, or a finale so good you're like, well, I don't regret watching the show.
Yeah.
And as long as I don't regret watching a show, then it's worth it.
Yeah, it takes a lot to make me truly regret watching a show, but
Yeah, because I'm not really paying for this show, right? When I pay my subscription prices, they're for other shows. Like I'm paying. Attack on Titan alone is worth my $8 a month, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
This is just like a bonus that comes with that. So as long as I don't regret my time, then it was worth it.
yeah, I think the only problem I really had was that for the out of the shows we're talking about, this is the only one I actually watched on Funimation.
Yeah, well, Wandering Witch.
Yeah, but we didn't watch it. That wasn't this week.
Yeah, it wasn't. I still watch Attack on Titan on Funimation.
See, I did this week just because I wanted to get more use out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other shows like Kuma 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 and Talentless Nana that I watched, but
Yeah, and there was Moriarty the Patriot, and
yeah, I never watched past the first episode.
yeah, I never watched even the first episode.
It had the Noblesse issue of everyone was a pretty boy, and I knew it was coming.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all we can say for King's Raid. I think somehow we managed to talk about too much of King's Raid.
It's the same every week. We talk about King's Raid for a very big chunk
Because
of
we're
time.
so busy shitting on it. Other shows, we're like, yeah, we like the show. And then we go on King's Raid, like, this fucking show.
It's
Let
like,
me
this
tell you
was
what
stupid,
they did this
and
time.
This is stupid, and this is stupid.
Yeah, apparently we can go on a lot longer about why things suck than we can why they're good. So
I mean, it's easier to trash talk something. That's why Simon Cowell did so well for so long.
it's true. That's a good fact.
So-
The next show we probably won't trash talk, though. I'll warn you guys right now. And that was this week's episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, episode number 13.
Tomorrow.
Good episode, obviously. No need to be said. It was fighting.
They haven't fucked up yet.
It's an episode with them mostly fighting, and the fighting in the show has just looked fantastic since day one.
It is like even just the styling is really good. Not even factoring in animation.
Yeah. There was I got what I wanted. I mentioned this last week, where the main villain had to lose. What's his name? Mahito.
Yeah, Mahito.
He had to lose, but he had to lose in a way where he was defeated. Like he he couldn't come off winning because he already won emotionally by the fact that they ended up killing what's his name, Yoshino. Because he killed him, he already won emotionally. This is now going to scar Itadori, but he couldn't actually win this fight against them, and then they somehow make it out alive.
Yeah, which I think they went even further with scarring Itadori this time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
But the important part though was that like you see, and the reason you know where he's like not done is that he finally manages, and it's implied that he's never been able to do it before, where he gets to do his domain. I'm trying to think of like a word of how
domain expansion.
I was like export his domain, yeah, expand his domain is the term I'm looking for. I've been doing too much editing. Apparently, I'm thinking about exporting.
Sounds like it. Yeah, geez.
But the thing is, he does it just to immediately have it lose, which they're not gonna do. They're not gonna show you someone's domain unless it's gonna be important. So obviously, he's coming back later.
Oh, God,
especially
yeah.
because basically, as long as he can touch a person, he can transform them. He can change their soul or the body around their soul.
And basically, the entire domain is in the palm of his hand.
Yeah, so he can touch everybody, which of course is what fucks him over.
Yeah.
Because as we know in the previous, I think it might have been the previous episode.
Yeah, he goes after Itadori, touches him, and Sukuna's just like, "Hey, bitch, get
Yeah,
the
he's
fuck
like,
out."
listen, he's like, because you annoyed Itadori, because you did that, he's like, I'll let this one time slide. He's like, but if you touch my soul again, I'm going to be very angry.
Yeah.
And he's just like, that's where he felt like that fear, and he kind of liked it. But then in this, because Itadori breaks through, because I think as the sensei I mentioned, is like all the effort. You're so focused on the
designed
inside
to hold
of the
you
domain.
in. It's not meant to break out.
Well, it's like no one would break into a domain. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
it's
You wouldn't
asking
ever
to
want to
lose.
be in there. So
yeah, it's the same logic as like, what is it, a crocodile's mouth? Like,
yeah.
getting that mouth open is next to impossible. Keeping it shut is really, really easy.
Yeah. So basically, since Itadori breaks in, it means he is now, since the whole thing's in his palm of his hand, he is now touching Sukuna's soul. So Sukuna just instantly like slices him a little bit.
Yeah, just no.
Yeah.
Bad Mahito, bad.
Yeah. So he learned his lesson there, and then the rest of the fight is basically he just kind of squirms his way away. He realizes that he can't win today. So
yeah, he creates a substitute that's just a big blown up body.
Yeah, and then he escapes into the sewer. They put on like an APB on him, basically trying to find him, but we obviously know he's going to get away.
Oh God, yeah.
And then Itadori collapses.
Which I mean, pretty fair. He was full of holes at that point. So.
Yeah, I like what the teacher's like, okay, yeah, no, Itadori, we got to move, let's go. And then Itadori's just on the ground. It's like, oh yeah, right, you just got stabbed a bunch. Like, any episode that they do the fighting in is going to be a great episode because it just looks so good.
I mean, yeah, this is going to be one of the quintessential shonens going forward. I think
the domain expansion stuff from everyone we've seen so far, it's always cool. This one's no different. All the hands and that kind of stuff looked good, made sense for this character.
Yeah, I feel like this might have been one of those things that looked a bit of a mess when they originally drew it, but in motion, in anime...
It would probably suck to draw.
Oh, God, yeah.
I don't imagine any of the domains would be very fun to draw so far, even... because the other one's just all like, what's like space and time and shit, right?
It's
like,
a freaking... it's a montage of everything you would see from like a Metal Gear Solid clip. And
it very much reminded me of Fullmetal Alchemist. Seeing
That's it.
If you do human transmutation, right, you can learn everything, and it's just like buzzing by you. But yeah, honestly, the big episodes that are all fighting, there's not tons to talk about. Like, there's probably some small details in there.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing I do want to talk about is the fact that Itadori killed someone.
Yeah, but he got over that real fast, I think.
I don't think he did.
I think that the Mahito is basically like, hey, I can't fight Itadori because he's
a natural counter.
Yeah, he's literally his natural enemy. So he's like, I'm gonna shoo him away a little bit with a distraction, and then I can just kill the sensei guy real fast. And then so he throws out some of his little human transmutation thingies to chase Itadori, figuring that, hey, this will keep him busy for a while because Itadori can't kill him. He won't kill a person. But then while Itadori's fighting them, literally in like 5 seconds, he's fighting them. He just kind of he has like a flashback. I know he thinks of his grandpa for a little bit there. The thing literally like cries on him and says, "Kill me," and then he kills it. He's just like, okay.
Yeah, which I think that's a big jump forward for any type of shonen character, because how many shonen characters can you think of that actually kill people?
Yeah, I think that it's different than him actually killing a person, though. Still, like, we've already seen that these people are basically dead from the moment it happens.
I mean, that is true, but for him, it was him killing somebody.
It's true, but I don't think this is going to be something. I don't think they're going to have this really weigh on him that much. I think that was to show his resolve right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, but the Yoshino thing is going to weigh on him for a while.
Oh God, yeah. Which, I mean, we got kind of a lackluster resolution to the whole Yoshino thing.
What, the teacher and the bully and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, where they do like the clip, like the little montage of things like of him talking to him. It's like, you're the one who gave him those scars, aren't you? And
the bully's like, yeah, but like you didn't know that, He's like,
you watched me do it. It's
the teacher basically feeling. I'm sure this is a very realistic, real world situation where any sort of teacher who was a bystander, that kind of thing, just stood by and didn't do anything, and then after he obviously feels terrible.
Yeah, but it took Yoshino literally dying.
Yeah.
To do something.
I mean, he's definitely, the teacher's still not a good guy.
No.
But he's basically like, hey, like this isn't happening anymore, kind of thing. And yeah, that was like the resolution there. Now I did still like the part where now this is going to be so annoying in the future, because when Mahito escaped, he mentions again that Itadori is his natural born enemy, and it sucks that he can't kill him for Sukuna because he wants to kill him so bad. He's like, I guess I'll just have to suffice with killing everyone around him. He literally is just like, I'll just have to mess with all the people he likes the most and that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh fuck, great, we got one of these characters.
Yeah. Oh god, it's gonna turn into a monster. Which I mean, do you think he's gonna go after like other Jujutsu sorcerers, like going after? I can't remember what the Sasuke's name is.
Megumi.
That's it. It's something I associate with female characters for some reason.
Yeah, but it's a very feminine name.
Yeah, he's going to go after her. He's going to go after the shopping chick. Or do you think he's going to go after his old schoolmates?
No, I don't think Itadori gives a fuck about his schoolmates anymore. I mean, obviously he still would, but I don't think the show gives a fuck about them anymore. Not Itadori. I think that it's going to be much more realistic for him to go after his current classmates. Yeah. But it's not going to happen until post tournament arc. So
probably not. But the thing is, his classmates can fight back.
Yeah, but anyone fighting him back who isn't Itadori is pretty fucked.
I mean, true, yeah.
One more revelation in this that we already knew, but it's still always fun seeing it, is Sukuna has an obsession now with Megumi.
Yeah.
He showed it again in this. He's like, oh.
He's the only one I care about, and he's the only one I want to fight. It's like, okay, man.
Yeah, which makes you really question again what exactly Megumi was about to do. We discussed the one time while they were fighting, right? Right before he ended up killing himself. Itadori ended up killing himself to save him. He was about to do something there that we haven't seen him do yet.
Yeah, some crazy soul-consuming technique or something like that.
Yeah, something that's probably taught to him by his older sister, I believe, is the character. I don't know if we've actually...
Yeah, was it established to be his sister, or was it...
I think it's his sister. I don't think it was established necessarily. I just think it is his sister.
I thought it was just like an older female character, was my understanding. Because even if you use the phrase Nei-chan, that doesn't necessarily mean blood relative.
It's true, but I think it's his sister. They look very similar. I don't know how. I don't know if it was mentioned briefly, but I feel like was she also shown in any sort of Jujutsu Tech outfit?
I don't think she was. I think the only time I can remember seeing her was when, the one dude asked what your favorite type of woman was, and he has that little flashback in his mind.
Yeah, wrong answer if it is a sister then. Never answer the question, what's your type of... Now it's anime, but never answer the question, what's your type of woman by describing your sister.
I mean, that's kind of the reason I kind of shoot away from the idea of it being his sister as opposed
I don't know.
to...
I know nothing about Jujutsu Kaisen as a manga or anything about that. Like, I literally have no idea where it's going other than the fact
I've been really tempted to start reading it, but I've been holding myself in check for this.
Yeah,
so we can actually talk about it blind.
Yeah, I haven't actually sat down and read a manga in a long time. There's been a few I've debated on. I've debated on like Attack on Titan since that restarted. Yeah. I've heard a lot of good things about like even like quintessential quintuplets.
Yeah, that was a good one. I read up on that. Shield Hero is another good option.
Yeah, like the ones that I'm worried I'm not going to get for a long time. Those are some of the ones I was thinking about, like Shield Hero.
I mean, those are all getting a second season.
I know, but like there are shows when they first like that when that ended originally when Shield Hero ended. Yeah, I was like, there's the possibility this becomes like an Attack on Titan.
The way they ended it made it look like they weren't going to get another season.
Mm-hmm. Like they thought there was a possibility.
Yeah, that was when I was reading the manga before it came out. So it was like I already knew how it ended. They changed just enough that it's like, shit, this is a resolution. But,
yeah. I really hope that we don't get a break for Jujutsu Kaisen, like a week break. It's possible they do it. A lot of times for 25, 26 episode series, they do it in between.
If they were going to take a week off...
It would be now. It'd probably be before we start the tournament arc.
Yeah, because the thing is, it doesn't air... Or New Year's is Friday, isn't it? No, it's Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, the New Year's Day is Friday, which is where a lot of, I think, very localized programming airs in Japan. That's why we got the double episode of King's Raid.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they would have done a double episode for Jujutsu instead of King's Raid if that was the choice.
I don't know, though. I think it's very possible they just take the week break. I mean, we could easily solve this by looking it up online. But that's part of the fun, the surprise of waking up Friday and seeing if we're disappointed.
We're going to roll up on next week and say, hey, guys, nothing aired this week.
If we get the break, it's not the worst thing in the world because we are, but there's going to be a big tone change going from this episode to when we have to start this like tournament arc. I mean, don't get me wrong. The tournament arc is going to be epic as shit.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be fantastic, but it's a big tone change. So one break, like 1 week break in between wouldn't be that bad. I say that, but I don't want to not have it next week.
Yeah.
But if it happens, it happens. It's not the worst thing in the world. They would have picked a good time to do it at least.
Yeah, I think
halfway between the show, right in the middle of the two different arcs of the show.
That would have been really good timing on their part if they do it that way. So
yeah, but we're just going to have to wait to see next week. If we talk about it, then it means an episode came out. If we don't, then it means one didn't. So
yeah, I mean, either way, we'll probably mention like, hey guys, just a heads up, Jujutsu didn't air this week.
Yeah, assuming we have some shows to talk about next week to have enough to do an episode on. If there's not, we'll have to do a topic at the end.
Yeah.
I think, and that brings us to the very last up on our list today, which is Attack on Titan episode 63 or season 4, episode 4.
Yeah. From one hand to another.
Yeah. Okay. So I mentioned this earlier on the episode. This is probably the least action-packed, dramatic episode, like the least important information in this season of Attack on Titan.
I think this is more world building as opposed to not even world building, tone building. Yeah,
now a lot of it, when you look at it retrospectively, like or retroactively, once you've seen the end of the episode and you watch past the credits, if you haven't watched past the credits, you're getting spoiled because we're talking about it here.
Yeah, I'm very proud of you, by the way, for finally watching an after credits
scene. Didn't trust it. I had this feeling in my gut the entire episode that they were building to something, and I did not think that where it ended in the episode, I was like, nope. I was like, that's not possible. So I watched the ending. Well, I skipped the ending. And then I saw that they were starting again. I was like, yep. And then when Falco comes in, he's like, hey, come with me, Reiner. I'm like, yep. As like, here it comes.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if they were going for an ambush or if they was just going to meet Eren, but
yeah. So there was. We'll discuss the general way the episode goes. Yeah. So it's very simple. We start with, of course, there's a couple different perspectives. It typically you have Reiner. So there's one point where Reiner and the other warriors mixed with some Marleyans are discussing their war plan. It's not going well because the Marleyans are assholes.
Yeah, Reiner's just like, hey, I'm just going to tell you all I know. We can make our plans after that. And they're just like, God damn, why are we letting him talk? It's like,
yeah, no surprise. We get a couple different shots of the Warriors training. Falco finally beats Gabby in a foot race. Everyone's kind of proud. We know that he's trying to work harder to get the armor titan so she doesn't have to.
Which, I mean, I didn't realize it was that one-sided. I thought like maybe he'd won something at some point.
It sounds like none of them have ever beaten her at anything. So
yeah.
And then
she did not take that well, I want to note.
No, as I knew she wouldn't. And one of the important parts too is we actually learn a lot in this episode, especially when it comes to the what the hell's their family name?
Oh,
the Tibers. Is that what they're
Tiberius,
called?
I think.
No, it's not that. His name's Willie. We meet Willie.
Yeah.
I think it's the Tiber family.
Isn't it? Let's take a look.
You look it up while I go through the discussion. So basically, we already knew about them previously. They've been mentioned to be an Eldian family that is almost as noble as like Marleyans. They've had the Warhammer Titan since like its founding. Basically, they live in a mansion. They're treated much better than every other Eldian we've ever seen. And in this episode, not only do we meet to be fair, we don't actually know who the Warhammer Titan is. That's one of the plot revelations. So we're shown the whole family. They come to visit the head of the warrior division of the Marleyans. And he's like, hey, like, can you guess which one of us is the Warhammer Titan? He's like, it's possible none of you are. And he's like, you have a good eye. He's like, but one of us is. And then it literally goes to like a flash showing each of them.
Yeah, which, I mean, we've got, 2 elderly people.
Yeah.
A bunch of kids and 1 woman.
Yeah, and him.
Yeah.
If I had to guess using the most generic guessing, I would guess him. But this is also Attack on Titan, so...
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be absolutely shocked if the little old lady just suddenly transformed into a Titan and fucked shit up. So
yeah, I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to say it here. I know some of the spoilers involving the Warhammer Titan.
I'm sure you do.
Which is not on purpose. I swear to God, I hate spoilers. But I do, but they won't be discussed here. But those spoilers have nothing to do with me knowing who it is. So I'm just going to guess Willie, because he's the most main character out of them all.
He seems like the one who would have it, but at the same time, he's the one who's in charge of everything.
Yeah.
So I don't think they would consign him to the 13-year lifespan.
And then, yes, probably the biggest world-building revelation in this episode, which was glossed over real fast, because it was implied that a lot of people already know, because the head guy of the Eldian, or the Eldian warrior division, implied it too, that the Tiber family actually like runs Marley.
Yeah,
so it's an Eldian family who runs the country that like subjugates Eldians. Like
I mean, the thing is, because we also hear from I can't remember what his name is, but the kid with glasses from the warrior program.
Yeah,
that other parts of the world treat Eldians a lot worse.
Yeah, that Marley somehow the best treating one.
Which what?
Which, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I guess they treat them better because they were smarter, especially when it came to the original war. They decided like, hey, like they're the enemy, but we can use them. They have way more power. Instead of just fighting them, let's use some of them. And then since then, they've at least treated some of them right to use them. Obviously not for the right reasons.
I mean, I guess, yeah, as long as you stay in your little ghetto,
His name is Udo, by the way.
That's what you have notes on?
That's from the first episode. I just had their names written down.
Okay.
But yeah, and then so we learned that, this Eldian family, who we obviously know we've already heard that they're basically Marleyans. They literally live in their own mansion. They don't have to live in the concentration camp or anything like that. But they secretly like run Marley, and that's why he's saying you actually learned a lot of information about the I don't remember his name, but the head of the warrior division, where he says that he wants to do conscription. He wants Marley and stuff to fight in the war, because if they go out there and actually see the war, then they won't want a war anymore. Yeah, and he's tired of war.
I mean, yeah,
which makes sense. He said basically the Marleyans look at war as positive, because either if they win the part of the war, then they win stuff, and all they've lost is Eldians. And even if they lose, it just means more Eldians dead. So it's a win-win. And that's why he's like, he wants there to be conscription. He's like making, I don't know if he said he did something. He's like trying to made like a pledge for it or something along those lines.
Yeah, he's trying to force through conscription.
Yeah, because then once Marleyans actually have to go fight in the war, they're no longer going to want war, like most people who've been in the war.
I think the implication too wasn't just like, hey, we're at war, we're going to start drafting people. I think it was something similar to what Italy has. I don't know if they still do it, but they did in the past, where once you hit a certain age, you have to go to war.
Well, it's the same. Well,
or you have to go into military training.
It's the same with Korea. You have to serve 3 years. And I mean, it's a couple things. It teaches a lot of values and stuff like that. Like even in the Canadian military, you don't have to do it, obviously. But like from military family, I know that they take a lot of people who are kind of assholes because they run out of places to go, and then they learn values and they become less of assholes.
I mean, that's the idea. Yeah.
So the idea behind a lot of those countries do it is like, hey, like, you know, we'll make them, you know, smarter. We'll give them, and then plus two, if it means there, you know, ever is a reason to actually have to have an army, you've already got a bunch of trained people. Yeah,
exactly. And your militia is actually going to know how to handle a gun. You don't have to teach them from scratch. So.
Yeah. So, but that was an interesting point of him, is that guy, like, we've seen him not be an aggressive asshole towards Eldians. Like,
yeah, he's just kind of there. He's in charge, and he's like, yeah, okay, you're Eldian, just don't do anything stupid.
Yeah. So we've seen that he doesn't want war, and he's even trying to bring Marleyans into the war. And then, we learn the revelation about the Tiber family secretly controlling Marley, which is pretty important, because he literally mentions it to him, and he's like, and then the Willie guy mentions, he's like, you know, I'm gonna make an announcement at tomorrow's like rally thing, like a big thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we get to a party. Couple important parts about the party.
Yeah, it's a big meeting between all the different world leaders, everyone that Marley's dealt with,
including the Eastern Allied forces, who literally just lost a war.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it starts pretty funny. It starts with the Marleyan guy making the joke,
Yeah, like I don't know if it was a joke or if he was genuinely just that fucking stupid.
Yeah, he's like, you know what they say, enemies of my enemies are still my enemies or something, and then they're all just like getting mad and
I think it was specifically yesterday's enemy is today's enemy.
yeah, okay, that's what it was.
This is like,
And he's like, oops, I meant ally, or I meant friend.
you're doing this because your military can't keep up anymore.
And it shows all of those people getting pissed, and then Willie comes on like, yo, fucking Willie, I love Willie. And then he's like, yeah, excuse that guy's joke. He's like, you know, and then yeah, he basically says that, you know, tomorrow because they're doing it at the camp, the encampment.
Yeah.
He says that they're
the
going to put on
zone, I think.
Yeah, he said they're going to put on a theater play.
His first ever production.
Yeah, so some sort of theatrical play or something to announce what's going to happen, which sounds ominous.
It sounds suspect as hell.
Very sus. And then, you know, the funny part of that scene is you get to see the warriors using their warrior skills, like the warrior candidates using their warrior candidate skills to like serve wine, pick up glasses. They're being busboys, basically. They're being the waiters.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this like funny, lighthearted thing, like, oh yeah, the wine quickly, and they're doing all that. And then all of a sudden it turns like, you know, Udo accidentally spills the wine on the lady, and his face just goes grim, like he's about to get like absolutely fucking wrecked.
I mean, normally he would be.
Yeah, I think because he's a warrior candidate, he'd be treated a lot better, but he'd probably still be like beaten or something.
Yeah, he would still be a beaten, bloody mess at the end of it.
But yeah, but then even the lady he spills it on covers for him, and then he's like, oh, why would you cover for him? She's like, well, like, you know, who knows what they'd do to you if I didn't.
Yeah.
And then she walks away, and he makes a reference as to who she is. She's just some lady from some sort of Asian-sounding place.
I think she's part of the Asian Alliance, like the Eastern Alliance.
Yeah, you know, she's wearing a kimono, obviously. But yeah, that was nice. You know, he got to, you know, little danger there, but then he kind of got over it, and you get to see this character.
I mean, it kind of shows that maybe not the entire world hates Eldians.
Yeah, I mean, all we've been led to believe is that the entire world does, but even there, it doesn't seem like she hates Eldians, obviously, or else she wouldn't have cared. But it doesn't mean she loves them, but you know.
I mean, yeah, she just doesn't like seeing people get beaten.
Yeah, she could be a normal human who's like a child is a child kind of thing, no matter where they're from. Which you know, that makes her top quality in this show already.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'd say, you know, we do see again, especially early in the episode, Aaron, now 100% confirmed to be Aaron, if it wasn't already obvious, ask Falco to deliver a letter, because if you send a letter from the encampment, the people read it, and obviously, as we've learned, the poor guy, Kruger is his name, he's just trying to send a letter to his family, but he's actually hiding there because he's not actually ill anymore. So, you know, he's like, hey, Falco, can you leave the encampment because you can? Send this letter for me to my family. Falco's like, yeah, bro, I got you. No big deal. And then we also get another revelation after that, when then you're met by the character named Jaeger, who is then revealed to, of course, be the father of Grisha Jaeger, which would make him Aaron's granddaddy. He comes over and you're like, oh, he's a doctor. He kind of tells the story. You realize who he is. If you didn't immediately when he said Jaeger. You realize who he is, though, and then
I mean, there was that moment of like, is this like a feint? Is this like him giving a fake name to try and tip something off? Or
well, the thing is too, when Zeke entered the camp last time, they showed family, right? Zeke, when in the I think it was, what was it, 2 episodes ago, where they entered the camp and they're all greeting their family.
Oh yeah.
Zeke greeted people, like the family, and they were like older people. And I'm like, who are these people? Because Zeke's dad, obviously, Zeke's parents, you know, sent to Paradise Island to be executed. They mentioned that even like if your family was shown to be they mentioned in this one, if your family was shown to be that, then like they can execute your whole family. So who were the 2 older people greeting Zeke?
Like adoptive family, I guess?
Maybe, but you think that I was just like confused at that originally, and then I was like, oh, maybe it was actually just like Aaron's father, Grisha's father, because they were shown before. They were at least Eldians that respected the Marley rule. They tried to teach their son how Eldians were bad, all that kind of stuff. So maybe it was just them. He got sent with his much more Eldian hating grandparents. But then it's shown here that this guy's, you know, originally they're kind of shown off like, oh, he's a doctor. But he's not a doctor. He's one of the fucking mental patients there.
That they let wear a fucking
yeah,
coat.
A little misleading by this hospital, but I mean, it's just Eldians, right? So why do they give a fuck?
I guess, yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if, I'm assuming Aaron has an idea who that is, especially since, you know, he's seen the memories. But he doesn't really show anything. He doesn't show any emotion.
He plays it straight-faced.
I'm still confused by the mitt and the ball. When he gets them, Falco originally asked, he's like, oh, did like your family send that to you? And he's like, Aaron's like, yeah, they want me to, you know, be more active or something like that in the line. But I was like, but what is the point of that?
Yeah, it's like, in your cover, you have one leg.
Yeah. In the letter, obviously, he says in the letter, he's like, I want to let my family know that I'm here and I'm okay. And we're taking that as that is actually what he's sending, and obviously a slightly different meaning, but he's sending a letter to the people basically saying it's probably about time that we're getting this plan activated. It's like ready to go. But what is the point of the mitt and the glove? Because then he just throws the ball up, and I think they use that as like a transition to like the next scene. But I can't really see if there's actually a point to that, if it's just like a random thing they threw in.
It might be something random, but maybe it's a signal. Maybe he throws the ball and that triggers something.
Maybe. But yeah, that was a pretty important part. Obviously, it's part of the Jaeger family is always important information to know, and we haven't seen that guy since I guess basically the first episode where they showed young Grisha and his sister.
Yeah,
because he starts by mentioning like, oh, like it all started like the day I let my son take my daughter there and all this kind of stuff, and
I don't know where I was going with that.
you get a lot of character information from that, and you're like, okay. But Aaron didn't give a shit. It's implied that he must know because he's seen the memories. It's not just he didn't just read them in the book.
Yeah, he would have memories of his. I guess it would be his aunt being killed by dogs and all that.
Yeah, he would have all those memories. He would have seen the Grisha's father at the time, his grandfather, probably known it, especially when he introduced himself as Jaeger too. Yeah. Tells the story. He knows Grisha's past.
Yeah, the way they show the little flashbacks, I think that's actually Aaron remembering it. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but he just doesn't give a fuck, even if he does.
I mean, he can't exactly tip his hand here.
But the very first thing that he does tell him, he says, hey, you should stop getting him to send letters. Which I originally thought, I was like, does this guy know that
that's what I thought.
Because I'm like, he might have that family resemblance. He might immediately be like, hey, this guy kind of looks like my son. Like, that kind of thing. Yeah. He might have the family resemblance. But then he's like, oh yeah, if they think he's suspicious, they could, take him, they could, remove his whole family, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was kind of important. And then obviously it goes to the festival and we get a little bit of happiness.
Because this is shown to be like the first like happy thing they've ever experienced.
Well, yeah, because it's not just Marley and stuff. All these different areas have come, right? All the Asian Allied Forces, Eastern Allied Forces, all of them, they've come. So all these food stalls are filled with different food. It's kind of shown that I think it's like them trying ice cream for the first time. They eat pizza at one point.
Yeah, they cycle through a bunch of like typical like festival foods.
And it's literally them eating it all, and in the background you just have Reiner opening up his wallet constantly.
Yeah, and just at the end he's just looking at it, just like super sad. Just like
okay, listen, people have already discussed this many times, but like Reiner's like the main character so far in season 4.
I mean, yeah, but
and you gotta like Reiner though. Like I always Reiner was kind of boring, and then he was shown off to be like the armor titan. You're like, okay, he's a little more interesting. He was still kind of boring, had some mental health issues.
He's always been kind of a weird character. Like the moment you do the disassociative personality thing, you're kind of sentencing a character to a specific stereotype.
Yeah, but like in this season, obviously we like him a lot more. The fact that he likes these children. He keeps he sees that they're sad, they have no money. Because they're just warrior candidates. He pays for all their stuff, including Peak and what does she call him? Porco? No, his name's Porco. What does she call him?
Oh, I can't remember.
Pock? I think she calls him Pock. I think it's like right. Peek and Pock. Because we get another Peek scene in this where she's on all fours and he's just like, what the hell? And she's like it's easier like this.
Yeah, I know. Apparently there was a big outcry because they didn't show that in the last episode with her.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, that's whenever I watched the... after I see the episode, I watch like a guy do a comparison between the manga chapters and the anime. And that was something that people were like, oh, we needed to see that scene. I'm like, did we really need to see the scene?
Y'all get some weird ass fetishes. I just gotta say that.
Yeah. But yeah, the festival, it's a big happy scene. Obviously, we're setting the mood. They're getting ready to go to war. But for now, it's nice fun. We're kind of curious as to what this Willie guy's gonna announce with this weird war announcement. Yeah, something we get every day.
Yeah, which something about Willie, they do show that he kind of knows all the world leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're showing them, he's like, yeah, remember this? It's like, oh yeah, I remember that when we were kids, you fell out of a tree. It's like, how the hell does this guy get along with everyone when his country's at war with everything?
Yeah, I'm also confused. But yeah, it was a bunch of different people being like, oh yeah, I haven't seen you since we were kids. Oh, remember this scar from the tree? And and even like when he goes up to talk, they're all like clapping me. They go, they called him something specifically, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, oh, I wish I could remember.
But yeah, he's a character that they're building up a lot, which is one of the things that makes me believe he's got to be the Warhammer Titan. But that's Attack on Titan is easily a show that's going to twist that around on us, and it's going to be the old lady or one of the young kids or something.
Yeah, something's going to go down. Willie's going to throw his grandpa at it. He's going to smash some shit.
Well, yeah, because the implications that him being like the leader and like really important means that he should be living longer than 13 years.
Yeah, because I mean, if he was with these people when he was a kid, then he's been alive for. Like, he wouldn't have been in Warhammer Titan back then.
No, yeah.
He's like, how old?
But he also does mention at one point, he seems like he goes a little crazy some of the times, and he's mentioning like the responsibility that's been put on him. And that does kind of sound like a very much, I was forced to become a Titan kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's very much, it's literally the thing that is like handed to you.
It might be that he recently picked it up, or for all we know, after he talks to the leader, and before then he might have eaten one of his grandparents.
Well, yeah, the sign, like basically in that scene, we're supposed to believe that he's complaining about like the weight of his decision making as like being basically like the leader, the secret leader behind Marley. But at the same time, it could very possibly have double meaning, being the Warhammer Titan.
Sure.
I think we're gonna find out next episode, because I have a feeling, basically with what happened at the post-credit scene, that shit's gonna get real, and if shit's getting real, we both have to see in the next episode what his revelation is during his weird war play, and obviously we'll get to it right now. What is the post-credit scene, which is Falco runs up to Reiner mid-festival before we get to see what their cool war play is, and says, "Hey, come with me." And as soon as I saw that, as I said, I had this feeling in my stomach the whole time, especially when the credits hit, that we were missing something. I was like, there's not a chance this is how they end it, so this is one of the times I went after. And then he basically slowly brings Reiner down into a cellar, where he immediately goes down, and Aaron's like, "Sup, Reiner?" And he's just like, "Aaron." And like, he doesn't even say it with that much surprise.
I mean, I feel like this is one of those things, like having him like shriek at the top of his lungs, "Aaron," just wouldn't have worked.
I thought he was gonna be, or I thought he was just gonna go on and he's gonna have like a surprised face. He's just like, "Aaron," and I'm like, what if Reiner's in on? No, Reiner can't be in on it.
I mean, what I'm thinking is maybe the Tiber family's in on this.
I thought so, and that's part of the revelation. That was one of my thoughts when I watched it. I was like, oh, this might have something to do with it. Like they could have been in on it. I guess we'll find out next episode, because that was where it ended there. It was literally just a, "Hey, Reiner," and Aaron, and that was it.
Yeah, the confirmation that Kruger is in fact Aaron.
Yeah, if you watch the next time, they showed like a Falco face that was very much in shock and a little bit of fear, which I'm assuming is just during their conversation learning who Aaron is.
Yeah, I kind of skipped the next time thing so I can go in fully blind. But
they do a really good job of not actually showing anything, just while giving you the smallest little hints to be like, oh, maybe. Like, I can literally not think of anything else right now in the next time other than the Falco face thing, which I don't remember why that's the only thing I remember, but that's obviously just...
I mean, does that look like a revelation face, or does that look like a Titan just smashed something face?
No, I think that was just a revelation face, because I think it was still in the cellar. I think that's more of a learning who Aaron is. He's probably heard stuff about him, and then learning that this man he was talking to was in fact Aaron, and that he's technically helped in their sabotage efforts to Marley by sending the letters.
It's like, those are all letter pumps to your leader, kid.
So yeah, while as I said, this was like a slow episode. When I say slow episode of Attack on Titan, it's still faster than most episodes of other anime.
Yeah, there's always something going on.
Because we had this tone set, especially, so that we had a little bit of a low, so the next episode when we get to high, it just feels like everything's so much more exciting. Not to mention, you had a lot of stuff like the Tiber family secretly running Marley. You got stuff about the Marley and trying to get the Marley and Center war so that they can stop war. A lot of like small information.
Yeah.
So all important stuff, especially my questions for the next episode are, what is the Tiber's plan? Is it something to do with Aaron? Are they in like some sort of cahoots?
Yeah. Are they going to like betray Marley to Paradise, or are they going to, I guess, Paradiso, or... Yeah.
Paradis Island, or whatever the hell it is. But
yeah. Or is this going to be just like him purging all the people he feels is evil? Because they were talking about some of the pillars holding the house have gone rotten and it's infested with rats. And
that conversation is one of those conversations where I'd want to take a second look at it. I want to like watch some rewatch that scene, watch some videos on what some people think that meant, because that was obviously a very important conversation that was not about what they were talking about. But since I only just watched it like 30 minutes before we talked about it here, I didn't get enough time to deep dive into it.
Yeah,
because that's probably one of those conversations that has a lot revealing in it. But
it sounds like we have to purge these people because they're evil, or because they're going to obstruct us, or because they're what we're trying to get rid of.
Yeah,
so that's the obvious answer, I think. But
yeah, so what do you think about next episode? Do you think we're getting the because obviously there was very calm air considering that he's like, hey, Aaron is in Marley. That should be much more dramatic. He should be like, oh fuck.
Well, this is Reiner still, remember? Because for all we know, we just got Survey Corps Reiner back.
It's true. Maybe he just he swapped. The thing is, do you know how quickly they could destroy Marley if Armin was just there?
Yeah. Armin just goes, fuck this shit.
Yeah, and then he just fucking does a steam nuke bomb. I was like, I'm so excited for shit to get underway and then to absolutely destroy Marley. But yeah, I think that there's before we get to the action, we need to know what the hell this It sounded way too ominous to not be bad. But the thing is it bad for the characters we've got to know in season 4, or is it going to be bad for the actual like Survey Course crew? Because right now I'm thinking that's a good chance that his war play revolution is going to be him betraying them in some sense.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because, again, we have a Warhammer Titan sitting in the middle of all the world leaders.
Yeah.
It would be pretty damn easy for him just to take one backhanded swing across that stage.
Or the old lady to do it when she reveals
yeah.
herself as the Warhammer Titan. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, because I don't know what the Warhammer Titan even does.
No one does. Well, I guess manga readers do. But
I mean, yeah.
We have no idea. It sounds like something that'd be really strong physical fighting because Warhammer, you know?
Yeah, but wouldn't that be it taking away what the Attack Titan does?
Yeah, but it has a Warhammer though.
I mean, maybe, yeah, because I mean, I've seen one image of it. It's got like a bunch of stuff stretched over its face, but
yeah, that image gave nothing away about who it could be. Because in my mind, that cannot be any of the people we saw.
maybe the old man, because like it was bald, and I don't think he had hair.
I mean, maybe it still doesn't. To me, that gives nothing away. At least by seeing it.
But I mean, the way you look at it, because the Attack Titan is supposed to be like the general offensive Titan. The female Titan is just versatile for some reason. But the Colossal Titan's whole thing is blowing shit up.
Yeah, well, and it's just pure size.
Yeah, but it has raw size, but its big thing is emitting steam and that it has a basic tactical nuke explosion when it forms. Mm-hmm. If you told me Colossal Titan, that would not be my assumption, unless you were like throwing it at someone.
Yeah, unless you literally like launch in the sky, Colossal Titan turns, smash into the ground.
Yeah, which is what Berchtold did in season 3. So.
Yeah, which is useful, yes. Well, that also, he just like mid-nuke exploded in the air. It wasn't even like his impact of his Titan was what did it.
Yeah, I know, but still, like I'm sure the impact of the Titan landing did some sort of damage.
Yeah, I always still wonder, this is kind of off the topic of this episode, but I always kind of wonder like the, what was his name? The Historia's dad, when he just licked the stuff and became a Titan, that Titan's size would have been more powerful than like all the other Titans, and he was just a regular Titan.
But I think part of it was A, he did have the royal blood, and B, like he wasn't properly formed, like he couldn't stand up.
Yeah, well, that was just from his pure size. It would have been impossible to stand up with that much weight. Like, it was just...
Yeah, so he's useless.
I don't know. He could literally just fucking crawled across, destroying everything in the wake. It was just one of those questions I always had, where I was like, yeah, even with royal blood, like, we've seen a couple characters with royal blood become Titans, and, like, they're pretty good. Like, they've mentioned, like, Zeke is better than all the other Beast Titans there's been. Yeah. But, like, that Titan is more colossal than the Colossal Titan is.
I mean, that is true.
If you somehow were able to actually move or stand with that, you'd be...
unstoppable.
You'd be unstoppable. Yeah, you'd be way too big. But yeah, I don't know. That's unrelated to this episode, but I was really excited to see this episode. Still gave us some information that was important.
Yeah.
And I'm just really excited for next week. I think we're still getting next week. There's going to be a lot more discussions, a lot more talking, a lot more revelations. And then the week after, it's going to be the action episode.
I mean, I feel like next week we're going to get more Survey Corps reveals. We're going to see Levi.
I hope so.
We're going to see Jean. We're going to see Mikasa probably.
I would hope so.
And maybe we'll get an answer as to what the fuck happened to Annie.
Yeah, maybe she's gonna be there. Maybe like it's gonna be a flashback episode. Eventually, we learn that she like did betray them, and she's like, yeah, whatever. Like I didn't really care that much about, because as we've seen in the last flashback episode, she didn't really give that much of a fuck, anyways. So
I mean, yeah, like her whole thing was about her family, wasn't it?
Yeah, like she didn't really care. She wasn't like Reiner at the time, who actually thought all Eldians were evil, and he just wanted to support Marley. She didn't really give a fuck.
She was there because, like, I don't want to die. Like,
yeah, that's all it was. So if she found a better place to be now, especially since she did make some... Like, her and Aaron did have, like, a kind of getting pretty close to a friendly relationship towards the end when he found out. That's why it was more dramatic when they found out that she was it. So that's possible, but that would definitely require a flashback episode to show when she got out, the talking to her, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because my question is it going to be her, or did they get a hold of another Titan serum and someone eating her?
Sasha.
You know what? I would be surprised if they use Sasha or Mikasa with her.
But I don't think we're going to get any... I said this before. I don't think we're going to get any secret reveals of Titans because I don't think we have this serum. Now, it's definitely possible. There's easy ways they could explain that they do have it. That's just my guess.
Because they just pulled it out of a Titan, right? Have Aaron transform. Yeah, it's just Titan spinal fluid.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that all it is? Like, you can put any Titan spinal fluid?
Apparently.
No, because they made it seem like it was a big deal that he gave Levi the last one and that kind of stuff, right?
Because they didn't know what it was at the time, but if they got to Marley...
I know they specifically mentioned that to make the Beast Titan one, they used the Beast Titan spinal fluid, and that's why he can control them and change them at will and stuff like that. So, but I don't know if the regular serum they use is always just a regular Titans.
Yeah, but they have an Attack Titan. Mm-hmm. They have a Colossal Titan.
Yeah, if they could just stack them up. That's why I'm saying I don't know if there's going to be any reveals about like a character that we don't that doesn't have a Titan already becoming one. That's my guess, anyways. I don't think that we're going to come in with Sasha or Mikasa being a Titan that we didn't know. I think we're still going to have all the Titans we knew about from the last season, and I think that Annie. They've already done the whole like killed Ymir off screen kind of thing. I think Annie's coming back.
I mean, maybe.
I don't know how, but I think Annie's coming back.
Because they killed Ymir off screen. I think that justifies that they wouldn't say no to doing it
They
again.
wouldn't, no. But I think that Annie, at least they showed the flashback recently, which gave a lot of information about Annie's background character before going over there, which was probably for a specific reason, knowing that we know that it's possible. She just betrayed.
Yeah,
Marley.
at the same time, just before they revealed that Ymir was dead, they also showed her writing the letter to Astoria.
Mm-hmm.
And then they killed her off screen.
Yeah, that's how we know she's dead, is because she got the letter. So it's either way is possible. That's the thing about Attack on Titan. It's not just obvious which way they're going. It could be that Annie comes back. It could be that they killed her off screen. They'll mention that when the survey course comes back in.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, there's no way they haven't figured out how to get through that crystallization thing she put around herself.
Yeah, there's no way, because you think that it's like, what's the only thing that can cut diamond? Diamond. Aaron has the ability to use the hardening.
Yeah, eventually he's going to get through to her, and eventually she's either going to die or have to talk to them.
Colossal Titan can just pick it up and chew on it and then eat her.
Fuck that, just throw it in the air. Let terminal velocity take care of it.
Yeah, just immensely up. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, I'm very excited for next week's episode. We're going to be on here discussing next week's episode. Like we said earlier, too, if there's only ends up being like 2 anime on this list that we're talking about next week, we'll probably do a topic.
Yeah, we'll prep something. Maybe just going on about what we're going to look forward to next season, exactly what we're going to be talking about.
And if you're watching this too, you can always leave a, if you have like an opinion on what topic we should talk about, if you want to hear something specific, we could always do that. It could be about certain anime that ended. It could be about, anime from a long time ago, favorite anime.
Yeah,
it could be real life if you want. It could be about our experiences, at conventions, which we've been to a lot. Obviously not recently.
Unfortunately,
very sadly, but convention stories are always fun. We can do pretty much a discussion on anything. If you have any opinions, let us know.
I think the last video we had a bunch of lists of what people were looking for next season and what they were going to watch. And
yeah, lots of stuff, new stuff, old stuff, all that kind of stuff. So if you have any opinions on what you want to hear us talk about, just let us know down below, because there's a very realistic chance that the actual discussing of the anime could be short. Maybe other than the actual episode of Attack on Titan could probably be a really long discussion by itself.
I mean, that is, depending on what happens, that could definitely happen.
Yeah, that's definitely realistically possible. But either way, let us know down below. And I think that's it for all the anime we've discussed today.
Yeah, that is all the major ones.
So, yeah, I think just like, you know what? Surprisingly long episode, considering we only had 4 things to talk about. But we somehow always get on King's Raid for a long time.
Yeah, we spent, I think, over 30 minutes just ragging on King's Raid.
Attack on Titan's obviously a big one. Even though I thought it was like an episode that wouldn't take long to discuss, there was a lot more. Once I started talking about it, there was a lot more shit than
things unraveled pretty quickly. So.
Yeah, and I'm excited now after this episode's over to go dive into all the stuff I missed. Because that's always fun, seeing stuff I either missed in the episode, or even just, as I said, the stuff that compared to the manga, and see what they decided to keep out of the manga, decide what they decided to keep in, because sometimes that gives you clues as to what could be really important.
Yeah, I mean, you might even see things like what they decided to include this time that they didn't last time, like peak on all fours.
Maybe there's a second peak on all four scene that they skipped out on, though, and people are going to be mad at that. There's only one way to find out.
I mean, true.
But yeah, like always, guys, if you watch the episode, any part of it, any single discussion of the anime, just leave a comment down below, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, just so we can get out a little bit more. Yeah,
if there's anything you do want us to kind of summarize for the season as well, if you want to hear our topics on any anime we didn't talk about regularly that we did watch, feel free to ask about that as well. We did keep up with a few other shows as well. So
yeah, and as always, too, leave down below what you want us to talk about for the winter. I think last week we asked and everybody wrote down their list, which was really cool. Now we just kind of need to go out. We need to figure out when these anime are, what day they air on.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of clear front runners for that as well. So
yeah, a lot of people mentioned a picnic one.
Yeah, I knew what this was called when we started, and I can't remember now. There was that. There was Alice in Dead School, and
that was one of the more surprising ones.
That was the one I'm still trying to figure out what it is.
So yeah, so here I got some quick ones right here. So a lot of people wanted Log Horizon Season 3.
Which, I mean, yeah, that was going to be here no matter what. But
ReZero Season 2 Part 2, obvious. Slime Isekai. Once again, we're definitely going to be watching that. We'll kind of decide when we watch it if we want to talk about it or not.
It's kind of a weird one because I don't know if it's one you can talk about every week.
Yeah, there's a Kumudesu ga Nanika, which is the Soma spider, so what? The spider isekai.
There's a few isekais this season.
And then one of the ones that I think almost every single person recommended on here. Where is it?
Saizano no Picnic?
No, Urasekai Picnic.
Urasekai Picnic.
Yeah, so I have no idea what that is. I'll probably do a little research in between now and next episode.
I've done a little bit of looking, and My understanding is it's a Ghost Stories type situation, but I'm probably way off base with that, so I'm going to do some more research.
Yeah, we're going to look at that up more. But yeah, we're excited to put together a list once we kind of got the confirmed dates and everything like that, and then we'll see what we're going to get into for all those winter anime.
Yeah, especially considering with everything this year, everything's kind of on a weird schedule. So
yeah. Everything, well, and that's just part of life, especially with 2020 and how everything's been going.
Oh, God, yeah.
Schedules can change up a little bit. Anime we thought we were going to have by now isn't coming out. Some anime I didn't think we were going to get is coming out. So
yeah.
Hopefully by next week too, we'll have a little bit of a quality change. I'm gonna we got a new camera, so we're gonna get that up and going. Even if you're not, if you're just a listener, that won't really make a difference for you. But you never know, maybe it'll be nicer. So
yeah, definitely.
I think other than that, we're all done for this week. You got any final thoughts?
I'm hoping I see a surprise Grimgar Fantasy of Ash in the upcoming season.
We won't. Yeah, we never will, sadly. But yeah, guys, once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you for episode number 16.
Yeah, we'll see you
Peace,
next
guys.
week.
Take it easy.
Peace.
Merry Christmas.